Hello everyone, this is Darcinovia here. This is my review on the fifth book of the Legacy of the Force series, Sacrifice, by Karen Traviss. This is the book that a lot of EU fans are divisive on. There's those who absolutely hate this book and this author because of the death of Mara Jade, which I'll talk about later in the video. Sacrifice. What do I think of this book? Well, I liked it. I really did. I think it's my second favorite book of the series so far. One thing I really loved about this book is, unlike Bloodlines, which focused too much on Boba Fett and not enough on Jacen Solo and his slow descent to the dark side, this focused on. You had three main characters in this book: Jacen, Ben Skywalker, and Mara Jade. Those three were the main characters, and every one of their arcs in this book were interesting. My favorite would probably was Ben Skywalker, because in this book he finally gets character development, and I actually really like this character. Ben Skywalker, I think, is a really good character. What I've seen so far, he learns from his mistakes. He regrets the stuff that he's done, and he's matured. And he realizes that Jacen isn't who he thinks he is, and he tells his mother about it. And Mara Jade's part of the story is Mara Jade, trying to find Lamaya because she's really worried about her son Ben. And Jacen Solo is struggling throughout this book to find out who his sacrifice is going to be. Each one of these arcs, all of them are interesting, not a single dull moment. Boba Fett's part, as usual, is the weakest part of these books, but I think it's better this time around, considering it doesn't take up a huge portion of this book. It's a small portion, which that is a huge improvement, in my opinion, over Bloodlines, which took up nearly a quarter of the book. Even though I still feel Boba Fett's addition to the series was unnecessary, it was still interesting. I still enjoyed it. What I thought of the story overall, though, what I thought of how Mara Jade's death was handled. Well, I'll get to that in a bit. The thing I really love about this book, which is very rare in the expanded universe, it is very rare where it focuses more on the Skywalkers than it does on the Solos. Because in most of these books, I'm sorry, EU fans, the Solos, I feel like, get a little too much attention at times. And not enough of the Skywalkers. It was really nice, to see more of the Skywalkers in this book. I really loved, Ben in this book. I feel like, Karen Traviss, I feel like, does a great job of utilizing Ben Skywalker. I feel like he had an actual purpose in this story. Every character, none of them felt useless. I felt this was really good. It's the reason why it's my second favorite of the series, because 4 books worth of build-up, and the payoff is great, in my opinion. Even though my favorite character, Mara Jade, died, it's still my second favorite book of the series because, so much has happened, and not to mention, it makes me excited to read the next one. And the moment where Jacen, where he immobilizes his love, what does that mean? Well, before I read this book, I thought, it was a cowardly way to go about by killing Mara Jade. But by killing Mara Jade, it really makes sense, because what it meant by that is Jacen sacrifices not only someone he cared about, but he sacrificed things that he loved the most. The love that his friends would have for him, and etc. And I felt like that was a great way for him to become a Sith Lord. Even though Jacen's arc is similar to Anakin's in some ways, it's so much different. And Jacen's story, him struggling, you know, to fall to the dark side. It, in my opinion, I'm sorry for those who are fans of the prequels. I'm a fan myself. I think Jason's fall to the dark side was so much better than Anakin Skywalker's. You know, even though it's just to me, I felt it was betterly written. Then again, to be honest, it's really not fair because Anakin Skywalker did not have like over 20 plus books worth of stories at his disposal to, and not to mention movies to, to back up his fall to the dark side. Even though some people could say that TCW, I'm bringing this up, could be used as a reason why Anakin fell, but I'm going by what we see in the movies themselves and some of the novels that were released at the time. Still feel Jason's fall to the dark side is much more tragic than Anakin's in a lot of ways. And I enjoyed it. I really did. Even though Jason Solo is one of my favorite characters, it was difficult to see him fall. But that's what made me want to read. I couldn't help it, but want to know what is going to happen. What drives him. And I think this what makes Jason Solo to such an interesting villain. And I believe this is the route they should have taken with Kylo Ren in the new canon, rather than I'm not going to get into that. Is I felt like it made Jason into a much more interesting character. If him falling to the dark side, he thinks he's doing it for the greater good. And Mara Jade's death, I felt it was a good choice. It wouldn't. I mean, there's no other character that would have made the plot work. Killed Ben Skywalker. What would you? It would have been a waste of a character. There was still a lot that to be done with Ben Skywalker, and it would be like Anakin Solo all over again. Because Anakin Solo, I felt like had so much potential. He could have been an amazing character had he not died in Star by Star, but life doesn't go exactly how we want it, so he died. But Ben Skywalker, by Mara Jade dying, it gives Ben Skywalker more stories, and that to me is why I think killing Mara Jade, she's my absolute favorite Star Wars character. And it was difficult to read this because I loved this character. But Mara Jade died in a way I felt was fitting for the character. Some people argue that her going after Jason by herself was out of character. I do not agree. Mara Jade is not the same person she was when we first meet her during Heir to Empire. She's changed. She's gone through a lot. And she's married. She has a child. Ben Skywalker is her son, and she's very protective of her son. And I think it makes sense for Mara Jade to act that way, considering Mara Jade is a mother. You got to take that into consideration. She's a mother. And she feel like she's the only one that can stop Jason. That she's the only, and she doesn't want another Palpatine, roaming around the galaxy. And she sees it as absolutely necessary. Mara Jade was willing to risk having the entire family split just to save her son. If anything, it shows how much Mara Jade loves her son, Ben Skywalker. And I think that, I don't care if Timothy Zahn did not like the death. I don't care what he says. I feel it was fitting for her to go that way. She died to protect someone, the people that she loved. And that, in my opinion, she got the death that she deserved. Even though I would have rather she not died, I think Mara Jade died in a way that actually suited her. And this will lead up to the last 4 books of the series, which I'm really excited to read. So yeah, I really loved this book. I really did. I thought, all the build up for the past few books was, it paid off, and I'm looking forward to reading more. Legacy of the Force, Sacrifice. I give it a classic rating. I thought it was really good. It's one of my favorite books of the entire expanded universe. Sorry, some people may not think it's weird, but I think it has some moments that really stand out. And not to mention, this book is a huge improvement over Bloodlines, which, in my opinion, is my least favorite book of the entire series. This is definitely my second favorite. So, guys, next time we talk about Legacy of the Force, we're going to dive into Inferno. So, if you're watching this and I haven't uploaded a video, before Christmas, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, or whatever holiday you guys celebrate, and may the Force be with you always.